Hey, and welcome to the first episode of Unstaged with Dave Nystrom. We're here with one of my best pals in the entire world and a world-class comedian in his own right, Mr. Damonde Tschritter.
Hello, Dave Nystrom.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good. I'd wave to everyone. Can I get a PA to tie a string around my wrist?
This is the quarantine edition of Unstaged because everybody's in lockdown, so this is how we're doing it. I can't have Damon over to my place. Plus, we live in different cities. I'm in Calgary. Damon's in Vancouver. But we're going to chat it up. We've been pals for, 23 years? 22 years? 22 years now.
1997.
1997. I'm actually going to move this speaker up here so everybody can hear you a little better.
Okay.
So what's been going on?
Oh, you know, a lot of TV watching. Playing some crib. We've sort of just been on lockdown.
Yep.
But the last days where you could go out, I will say this. I've been with Christy Tuttle 10 years. She has never been awake before me. Not once have I woken up and been like, "Where's Christy?" But on the day that Trudeau was said at 10 a.m. he was doing an announcement, she heard liquor sales may be cut off. So I woke up at 9:30. Christy was not in bed. She was just not here. The house was quiet. It takes her an hour to put on her makeup, like Dolly Parton. So she was just gone. So she's never even gone down to check on the mail without putting on her makeup. But when she only had 30 minutes to possibly get liquor before we're all locked down, she was out the door.
Wow, the liquor shutdown got tuts up early. That's impressive.
But she had already gone and got all the stuff a week before. We're well prepared. We've been listening to feeds from China, all that stuff, meditating with Buddhists. So, yeah, we're just sitting here. And for having a one-bedroom apartment, everything's going fine. Like, she doesn't know I've got a knife under my side of the bed in case I finally got a stabber and this thing.
Now, this whole thing also threw a wrench into, because you were doing the, what was it called? The Comedians Following Tool on Tour? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, that's what it was called.
The Comedians. So you were following the band Tool with you and Rory Scoville, and was anybody else on it?
Yeah, a comic named Nick Youssef.
Nick Youssef?
We were all together, and we did our show in Portland on the Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, I was, like, with Tool. Like, I was underneath in Adam Jones' room.
Oh, cool.
He's the guitarist, so we got to know him. Now he comes to our show.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. So we were just hanging out while he warmed up and all that. So we were there when they're like, we don't know if we're going to have to cancel the tour. They had a band meeting, and then they decided, okay, we'll wait until anything's said. And then, while we were in the back room, this is, I don't know, an hour and a half before the concert, Trump closed all the borders. So we got that. Then the NBA shut down. Then he just did his warm-up on his guitar, got a massage on his arm.
You got all this info while you were hanging out with the Tool guitarist?
With the guitarist and Tool. I'm just hanging out in his dressing room in the bottom of the stadium that the Portland Trailblazers play in, because they all have their own dressing rooms. So he gets we get the info that the NBA is postponed the season. He goes out and plays. They do the concert. We stand like with all the techs this time. We hang out where they're doing all the lights and pyrotechnics, all that stuff. Then it ends. We go back to the dressing room with him, and while we're in there, they come and say the governor of Oregon just said 250 people or less. So they were supposed to go to Eugene the next night. They're like, well, concert's over. So they headed for Boise, hoping for the best, but I don't think it worked out.
Wow. So did you just jump on a plane and come straight home after that?
Oh no, I drove. I had my car.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, Christy was supposed to come down on a train to join us in Eugene. So that ended, and then I drove home, and then what's the town? Mount Vernon, about 40 miles from the border. My battery died while I was getting some gas. I was like, oh, that's odd.
Now, if you don't know, Damon has a history of cars breaking down.
I do.
On road trips to the U.S. What number is this now? This is number 3, right?
This would be breaking down the U.S. Yeah, 3. I never got my truck back from L.A. The Hustler bit it. It only made it to L.A. with a dying battery and alternator. The BMW I drove down to see you in blew up in Medford, Oregon.
Yeah.
So 3 different states. All 3 states along the coast have claimed a car on me. But this one, like all of a sudden my battery's dead. I'm like, that's weird. So I worked on I got a jump, and then all of a sudden everything was being fried. So my alternator was fried. I had to stay overnight in Mount Vernon But the good news was that like it could be the transmission. The next day they got my alternator changed and a new battery. $800 US, but I got out of there. So I got home because if it had been a transmission and they were going to take till like Tuesday or Wednesday, my car would be stuck there. You can't cross the border anymore. So I was lucky to get home.
Wow. And how did you end up? I know you're buddies with Rory Scoville. Did he put this together, or did he contact you and ask you to jump in on it, or how did it all come together?
Well, it sort of came together because we're both Tool fans, and then in September we were flying from LA to Cleveland to go golfing and do shows, and we ran into Adam, the guitarist, in the airport in Minnesota. He didn't know us then. Rory didn't know him. He's like, Adam. So I took a picture of the two of them. And then we started talking Tool, and then we tried to buy tickets while we were golfing. They were all sold out instantly. So Rory decided to put this tour together to make the band aware of the comedians, hoping that they'd hear about them and that maybe you get to meet Tool or go to a show or whatever. So we went on Conan O'Brien, talked about it. The guitarist from Tool, Adam, reached out to him on Instagram. They started talking. Then they got to texting. And then while I was down on the tour in Austin, Texas, Adam, the guitarist, showed up with a bunch of guys, like the road tour managers. So guys all came to our show in Austin, got to meet us, and then the next day he's like, "Do you guys want to come to like the sound check in the afternoon?" And then we were row 8 for the concert tonight. So we got a private concert from Tool, just like the group of us that were there. The comics, Christy, our significant others. 7 of us sat in an empty, like in an arena.
Wow.
Just Tool for us.
People would pay huge dollars for that experience.
I think they do, because then they let the VIPs in after that, who paid thousands of dollars, and we walked up to the front, and then the VIPs saw the rest of the sound check, and then we go hang out in the. So all of a sudden we were hanging out in the dressing room. So got to know Adam. He's a really good guy, and but he's the only guy I know in Tool. Like I've sort of briefly met the other guys, but I wouldn't know them at all, right?
Okay.
Like I've said hi, but Adam, like I now know him. So if they were to come to Vancouver, we could go down to the tour and be like, "Hey, Adam, we're in town. We go for lunch and then see the concert." But I don't think anybody's going to be seeing anything for, except for this brilliant show. There's going to be nothing else seen. This is what we're down to with our comedic live.
Yep, this is it. This is why I'm doing it, because I can't leave the house. So here we are.
Yeah. I see. You can see I've been working out. Like, look how big my chest is.
I know you're jacked. You're looking pretty beefy these days.
Yeah, well, I've just been sitting around eating, getting ready. This is. I'm going to come out of this like 180. I'm usually 143, but when this is all over, I'm just going to be a fat guy.
Now, not only are you a well-respected and acclaimed stand-up comedian, you also do a podcast with fellow comic Paul Meyerhog called The Microdose.
Yes, The Microdose.
Now, are you guys going to keep doing that? Because I know you were doing it through the internet, right? For a while, the both of you were speaking to each other. Are you going to continue doing it that way?
Yeah, we're back to it. He had to fly. He went back to France, where he lived. So we're going to go back to, we Skype it often other than when we're together on tour. So we're still doing it. We just did episode 15, so we're about to do 16. There's 15 hours of laughter in there for people if they want to watch it.
Nice. Well, and for those of you that don't know, Paul Meyerhog's a Canadian comedian who lives now in France. He's met a lovely French girl, and he's making a life for himself there. Damonde, Paul, and myself, and a bunch of the comics have all been friends for many years. But just tell everybody quickly kind of what the microdose is.
Well, at the beginning, Paul or myself, mostly myself, takes a microdose of LSD or a mushroom stem, one of the two, to microdose. We're seeing how it would be to microdose. Originally, the idea was like we'd microdose it and say some funny stuff, and then it would also be for mental health. We'd see how it goes. So it turns out it's just more become a comedy podcast. Well, I'm microdose. So I have probably a cup of liquid acid in my fridge here for this lockdown.
Okay.
It's all like the milligrams. So you just take 2 mils, and then that's enough. And then I have a big bag of mushroom stems that I can eat. It's a little, Dave. Like you wouldn't know that you could just feel sort of a hum while you take it. But I changed to mushrooms because it only lasts about 2 hours when you do that. If I took the acid for about 4 or 5 hours later, I would still feel the hum after the podcast was done.
Okay.
And starting to go down rabbit holes on YouTube and stuff of things I didn't really need to do.
Starting to take up a bit too much of your life with the acid trips?
Yes. Yeah. So it's something you can kind of feel like something's going on. Actually, you know what? I didn't find it to be that big a benefit. Like, I think maybe they're like, oh, it helps people be more creative. But I think if you're being creative all the time, it's kind of, you don't need it to open up doors.
Yeah, and there's a lot of research for microdosing mushrooms for to combat depression, right?
Yeah. So that was the idea, was that this would be sort of a mental health and comedy podcast. But now it's just become all about, it's just funny.
Yeah, I've listened to it myself, and it's great. It's hilarious. If you get a chance, check it out on. You're on iTunes and Spotify, right? And
we're on everything.
Everything. Like, okay, so the microdose with Hog and Shrid, is it called?
Yeah, Damon, Tschritter, and Paul Myra. We call ourselves Hog and Shrid.
Okay.
Say that as our short handles. But I had people that were like, I don't know, people would come into Christy's work and be like, we're listening to the podcast. It's fucking hilarious. Like, people thought it would be funny, but it's turned out to be hilarious. I guess really funny.
Oh yeah, the ones I've listened to have been fantastic. I actually haven't had a chance to listen to them all. I have 4 children. I don't really have time to do anything, but now I have time, so I'm in lockdown.
Yeah.
So
I don't hold it against anybody who hasn't listened to 15 podcasts.
Well, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this.
How are you holding up there?
It's chaos. It's absolute chaos at our house. Even trying to set this up, I had to kick the kids out of here about 19 times because they all wanted to help, which is great. They're adorable, but it's difficult to set up technical equipment and lighting with a 4-year-old.
Okay. Well, it looks like a great set. Is it going to stay in Canucks blue and green, or are you going to change it to Flames reds for different guests?
I think no. It's going to stay. I mean, the jerseys will change, or the outfits will change for the other guests, depending on who I can snag to do this. But I think it's a good way because I have comedian buddies that live in LA and New York and places like that, or even guys in the UK that I'm hoping to get to jump on and do some.
I think they'll all jump on. Nobody's going anywhere, and so it's weird. I was saying, like, people are like, "How are you handling the isolation?" And I'm like, "Actually, I'm fine. I'm used to being in hotels isolated all the time. I just don't get to talk to like 250 people at the end of the night. I can go all day doing nothing. I'm really good at it."
Yeah, that is kind of weird training that we've had with our job, sitting in hotels in cities where we know absolutely no one, kind of doing this isolation thing professionally.
Yeah, I can hang out all day till 8 and do nothing, hardly even move. I'm like a human. What is the bug that can like look like a stick?
I think it's called a walking stick.
Oh, okay, walking stick, praying mantis, whatever that one is that they used in. I don't know what that. It was a movie where they learned to use camouflage because nobody could tell it was a bug. He was really. They thought he was a stick. Russell Crowe was like, "Oh my god, a bug." The biologist helped them. They were on a ship, like it was one of those. They were fighting in the 1700s.
Oh, Master and Commander, Far Side of the World.
Yeah, I'm the stick bug. I can just fly like that. You wouldn't even know if I was alive or dead on the bed. Christy, often I see her. I wake up with her above my face.
Yep.
Asking if I'm alive. I'm just checking to see if you're alive. She can't tell. I'm not still. Stoic.
Well, before we leave, I wanted to ask you, now you're, like I said, a fantastic stand-up comedian yourself. I wanted to know if you could tell us your favorite joke by another comedian.
Okay, I will try and do this joke justice. It was a tight choice between two of them, but it was one by Irwin Barker.
Classic, the late, great Irwin Barker, a Canadian comedian who passed away. God, it's been...
5 years?
No, he passed away around 2009, I think.
Wow.
I think it was somewhere around there. It was maybe 2010. I'd have to look it up, but it's been quite a while now. Unfortunately, it was a great loss to the Canadian comedy community. Brilliant comedian, fantastic jokes. I can't wait to hear it.
So he had a joke where he would ask the crowd if they've ever tried rabbit.
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Oh, I don't know, rabbit." What is? Some people would be like, "Yeah, rabbit." He's like, "Well, rabbit's pretty good." But he's like, if you ever have a chance to have a rabbit that's been owned by a child, the meat just falls off the bone. If you've ever had a rabbit loved by a small child.
I remember that joke. I'm laughing extra hard because I would remember how the audience would react.
Yeah, the crowd was like, "Whoa!" But then everybody would have to be like, "He's probably right. That does sound like a delicious rabbit." And there was another joke by you that I always liked, where David Duchovny came home late on what was his TV
Oh,
show?
the X-Files. God,
The
this
X-Files, and his wife would accuse him, like, have you been out screwing around on me? And he would just say, aliens!
Not a joke I can do anymore.
No, either.
Actually, I think X-Files might be... Is it back on? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think they did a reboot.
And
Anyways...
it's probably good that you don't do that joke anymore, either. It was you and I favorite.
It never killed. It never killed.
Yeah, if I came home late and you were sitting at home when we were roommates, I would just walk in the door and yell, aliens! And then we'd laugh.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This is episode 1 for Unstaged with Dave Nystrom. Hopefully there's more. We have lots of time now and I have nothing else to do. So, yeah, get ready for some more.
Coming back, says the face in the square.
Yes. The square says to check it out down the road. Thank you very much. Damon, I love you, buddy.
Love you
and stay safe.
Sayonara, everyone. Listen to the microdose.
Happy quarantine and listen to the microdose.
Bye-bye.
Peace.